always hard to find something in common with reviewers. Roll with it, yeah? It's always hard to find something in common with reviewers. But there's one thing I can think of. You don't know what I'm going to say? And neither do I. Richard Branson's space venture, Virgin Orbit, is getting ready for a backup plan in case it doesn't get the emergency funding it needs from investors. The Virgin Group is working with Decura and Alvarez and Marsal to prepare for the worst-case scenario of insolvency. The company had to stop operations and furlough most of its employees in March of 2023 after a rocket failed mid-flight. Virgin Orbit leaders are meeting with potential investors to restart operations. A spokesperson for Virgin Orbit stated that the company is initiating a company-wide operational pause starting March 16, 2023. They plan to provide an update on future operations in the next few weeks. The company is confident that they'll be able to return to flight as soon as the investigation to the rocket failure concludes. They're making final preparations and integrating the changes and lessons learned into the next rocket, which they aim to fly later this year. Arnaldo Rodriguez, a New York City EMT who earned $400,000 during 4 years of administrative leave, is fighting for his right to become a firefighter after being demoted by a fire chief. Rodriguez, who was denied the position of firefighter in 1999, became an EMT the next year and joined a class action lawsuit to end discrimination in the city's firefighting ranks. After the city reached a settlement with the lawsuit, Rodriguez was given the opportunity to reapply in 2013 and was admitted to the fire academy. 4 days into the training program, however, he was ordered to stay home and to not return until contacted. His attorney is arguing that he's entitled to $1.5 million in back pay for wages he missed out on over the past 2 decades. The EMT union has also filed a grievance on his behalf, demanding that he be reinstated as a firefighter and receive back pay at the higher rate. In October 2021, a city arbitrator ruled that the FDNY wrongfully disciplined Rodriguez and ordered the department to pay him for the missed time with interest and make him whole. Manhattan Supreme Court Judge Nicholas Moyer denied the city's motion to dismiss the request and kicked the case back to arbitration to determine Rodriguez's future with the FDNY. Thousands of school workers in Los Angeles are on strike due to unfair practices, according to the Service Employees International Union, Local 99. The union represents 30,000 school workers in the district, which serves over 600,000 students in kindergarten through 12th grade at more than 1,000 schools. The United Teachers Los Angeles has also asked its 35,000 members to strike in solidarity. Despite this, LAUSD is ready to return to negotiations to reach a deal, said Superintendent Albert Carvalho. Workers gathered in picket lines with signs reading, "We keep schools safe. Respect us." Demonstrations are expected at schools across Los Angeles. The SEIU, Local 99, is seeking a 30% pay raise overall for its members, plus an additional $2 an hour equity wage adjustment for all. The average salary of school workers in the LAUSD is about $25,000 per year, with most working part-time hours. Carvalho has proposed a 23% recurring raise and a 3% cash-in-hand bonus.
Just saying, McDonald's employees make more.
Paris is close to entering its 3rd week of a trash strike, which has turned the city from a destination to the streets of New York, with around 10,000 tons of garbage accumulating on the streets. This is due in part to ongoing protests and strikes over pension reforms. The protests have resulted in hundreds of arrests and have spread over to the other cities in France. Unions have called for localized protests and strikes, and air traffic controllers, railway workers, oil refinery employees, gas and electricity workers, and tugboat operators have all joined the strike. The trash crisis is a result of an ongoing strike by garbage collectors in Paris. Opposition parties on both sides of the aisle have submitted no-confidence motions. However, the French government has survived both attempts. President Emmanuel Macron continues to face protests and strikes over his decision to use executive powers to push through an unpopular rise in the pension age.
Is somebody going to remind Macron that there are still people alive in France who remember when guillotines were being used?
Employers are now legally allowed to dock salaried employees' paid time off, according to a recent U.S. court ruling. The ruling comes from a response to a class action lawsuit filed by workers from Bayada Home Care, Inc., a national at-home health and personal care service for seniors and people with disabilities. Bayada uses a system of productivity points to set its salaried employees' pay scale, with employees expected to accrue a certain weekly amount of points. If an employee fails to meet their productivity point quota, the difference between the completed and expected work is subtracted from their bank time off. The lawsuit plaintiffs attempted to argue that Bayada was illegally punishing them, but the Circuit Appeals Court judges disagreed, asserting that the paid time off doesn't count as compensation. The judges decided that no American employee, salaried or otherwise, is entitled to paid leave. This could have broader implications for employee benefits if other companies decide to adopt a similar strategy. Despite the ruling, it's known that many states do protect PTO. Make sure you know your local laws, and probably don't work for Bayada if you like time off. My boss has been trying to make small talk around the water cooler lately. He even told a joke during the Zoom meeting this morning. I told him it wasn't even remotely funny. Good Meat, a company that produces animal meat without
Without what?
straddling animals.
Straddling we don't get on animals back here. We slit their throats the old-fashioned way.
Good Meat, a company that produces animal meat without slaughtering animals, has passed a crucial safety test from the Food and Drug Administration. The FDA's pre-market consultation issued a no-questions letter indicating that the agency agrees with the company's conclusion that its meat is safe to consume. The clearance brings the company one step closer to selling its products in the U.S. Good Meat has been selling its meat in Singapore since 2020, but there are no foods made from cultured animal cells in the market in the U.S. The company says that celebrity chef Jose Andres has agreed to offer Good Meat's chicken to his customers at one of his restaurants in Washington, D.C. Good Meat is the second cultivated meat available in the market worldwide. TikTok CEO Suji Chu will testify before Congress on Thursday that the video sharing app is more entrenched in Americans' daily lives than anyone realizes. The company has 150 million active users in the U.S., according to internal data, compared to the 100 million it claimed previously. The 50% increase in users over the nearly 3 years that Washington has been grappling with how to regulate the app suggests that it's become even more popular. Lawmakers in both parties have argued that the ByteDance-owned TikTok poses a threat to national security, as Beijing could use it to influence U.S. public opinion or gain access to Americans' data for nefarious purposes. Efforts to potentially ban TikTok in the U.S. have reached a fever pitch, with President Biden now supporting a bipartisan bill that could do just that. State agencies in Minnesota are keeping a close eye on Xcel Energy as they work to clean up a tritium leak at a nuclear plant in Monticello, located 35 miles northwest of Minneapolis. The leak occurred in November of 2022 when 400,000 gallons of water contaminated with tritium was released from a pipe running between the two buildings on the property. Xcel Energy has since stopped the leak and contained it to the facility, with state officials confirming that the leak hasn't migrated off-site and has posed no risk to the public health or safety. Despite groundwater moving towards the nearby Mississippi River, the Minnesota's Pollution Control Agency says that there's no threat to drinking water. The Minnesota Department of Health and the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency are working closely with other state agencies to oversee Xcel Energy's monitoring data and cleanup activities to ensure that the cleanup is concluded as thoroughly as possible with minimal to no risk to the drinking water supplies. Given the number of industrial spills over the last few months, the locals are looking towards the plant with increased scrutiny, more so due to the lack of transparency and lengthy time it took to report the spill to the public. I don't see anything wrong with it. I'm sure it's completely safe. Come back Friday to see if my mutant superpowers turn me into an unstoppable creature of rage, or I just look pissed because CEOs keep laying people off.
Disney's about to announce about 4,000 layoffs.
Those Mouska fools, said Superintendent Alberto Carvalho.
Said who? Carvalho. Yeah, sure.
Said Superintendent Albert Carvalho. Wow. That up.
Go. Yes, go.
I can't.